Oh, there he is.
Hey, how you doing, man?
You know, I'm doing all right. Doing all right on this beautiful fucking Tuesday.
Lovely fucking Tuesday again.
Yeah, you know.
I think actually something we talked about last podcast that I said we should talk about this one.
Yeah.
Was like mental toughness through like physical fitness.
Fucking A.
Fucking A.
Fucking A.
And so, I mean, the reason why I use it is to like, because basically you can push yourself physically to the point where your mind wants to quit, which in turn gives you a stronger mind outside of the gym.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, for example, like I do like functional fitness, which is like kettlebells, box jumps, all that kind of random shit.
So it makes you good at just doing regular shit.
Yeah,
like
functional fitness.
You know,
like,
if you got to squat to take a shit,
exactly.
You know,
you're very good at it.
You'll be exceptionally good at
and
squatting
you have
to shit.
A great posture when you squat to take a shit.
Oh, phenomenal.
Yeah. So, but what you can do, I find, is like at some point during the workout, your brain wants to like give up, and your brain usually gives up before your body.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
And every time you do that, and every time you get past it, you just get a little bit stronger. And I've noticed things outside of the gym, even at work. Like if I'm doing something and it's like stressing me out, you just get a little bit better at dealing with that stress. Yeah. Because you're like, you know what, I've been through worse.
Right. Oh yeah.
Worse physical pain, which creates like mental stress, which then you can use. It's all the same kind of stresses. It's just produced from a different source.
Right. Yeah. You know what's weird? Like the first time I interacted with that, this is a really fucking obscure way to experience that. But I was probably like 10 years old.
You slapped yourself in the face?
Yeah. I was looking at myself in the mirror. I was like, "Look here, you fat fuck. You need to get your life together." Yeah. But I was watching Terminator. The original Terminator.
The best one.
For like the 20th time.
Ooh.
And I don't know why I thought to do this, but I just remember Kyle Reese in the movie says, pain can be controlled. And when he said that, I was like, I'm going to try something. Because so what I did was, because he said that, I was like, I'm going to try that out. So I turned the tap water on, like really fucking hot, like super fucking hot.
I bet this didn't end well.
And I just filled up a pan of water, and I was like, I'm gonna stick my hand in this hot water, and I am not fucking moving it. I don't give a fuck how much it hurts. I'm gonna control that shit. I did. I was like somewhere between the ages of 10 and 12, and I just remember.
Don't try this at home, by the way.
Sticking my hand in there. No, I held it together.
You did?
Yeah, I did, because I was like, in my head, I'm like, God
Pain
damn it,
control.
this hurts. But like, just separate yourself from it.
Right.
It's you understand that it hurts.
It's just
sucks.
A body reaction. I mean, it's just an emotion, really.
Yeah, and you can.
Did you get through it, or did you melt your hand?
I made it through, because tap water isn't like boiling hot, but it's still, when you turn it all the way hot, and then it's still pretty hot, and I just left it in there, and eventually my body just got used to it, and it was fine.
And
so
your mom came in there, and she's like, "What the fuck are you doing, Ryan?"
Yeah, and I was just like, I was like, "Mom, it's pain control. Get the fuck out of here! Like, you don't want no part of this shit.
You need to see a therapist."
Yeah.
Well, you're right though, and like, I mean, obviously this is easier said than done. I get that.
Right.
But so in the gym world where I'm at, they kind of talk about the fact that like, pain only sucks because we attach an emotion to it.
Yeah.
And we do. So if you put your hand in that hot water, you're attaching an emotional response to the pain. Like, the pain is just a feeling, but then you attach all this like fear and like emotional response to it, and then it makes it something else. Yeah,
and I agree, because there's I don't know why this is the case, but whenever I would get hurt, whether it's playing basketball or whatever, I would, and let's say I remember there was this one particular time where I sprained my ankle.
Yeah, you're a pussy.
Yeah, I mean, it's like it's like little fucking bitch. Just roll your ankle. Just walk it off, But I sprained it and I fell on the ground and I was like, hold my ankle, right? Just the immediate reaction is like, ow, this hurts. But
you're also probably kind of scared too, right? In your head.
Oh yeah, like I'm more worried about how long am I gonna be out of commission than anything. Yeah. But so I'm holding my ankle and in a lot of pain. And the guy that I was guarding, he just says, "Stop hacking." And in that moment,
what's that term?
Like, stop it. No, like because I was fouling him as the play happened, and I rolled my ankle.
Right, it was your fault.
Right, so instead of "Hey man, you're good," he's like, "Stop hacking," and he just walks away.
That's a bitch.
Yeah, like most people would probably been like, well, like a small part of me was like, I'm gonna fucking whoop this guy's ass, like and right. So, but I caught myself in that moment to say like, okay, emotions are getting connected with this. Mm-hmm. Don't let that happen because that's not good, right? And because you're gonna go through hardships and you're gonna go through stress. And it's kind of the same deal if you go through like some type of mental stressor that's not at the gym or not physical, and you have to, while that's going on, you have to interact with others.
Right.
And you can't become emotionally attached to that stressor and take it out on somebody, because what that ends up doing is it only creates more suffering and bad things in the world.
You.
Yeah, for you, for everybody.
And so it reminds me of this quote, which is, pain is inevitable, suffering is optional. Right? So, to an extent, right?
Yeah.
Obviously, again, everything we say is, like, easier said than done. I get it.
Yeah.
But it's the same kind of concept. Like,
right. It's like the physical response will always be there,
right,
biologically.
And how you let that mental response dictate how you get out of that situation, like you said. And so it doesn't have to be physical stress at the gym. It could be stress at work, stress at home, whatever. But if you attach an emotional response to it, which obviously everyone is going to do,
right,
because we are human,
right.
If you can learn to control the emotional response to it and not let it like overtake you, usually you're going to get out of that stressor quicker.
Oh yeah.
Than letting it like consume your day.
Yeah. And again, it's like you said, easier said than done.
Right.
But at the end of the day, it's still a simple thing to do. It's really just paying attention.
Yeah.
And
being mindful of that, of the emotion that's cropping up in your head, and then going, I shouldn't be responding.
And there's that fucking word again, mindfulness.
Jesus, why do we keep saying that?
What the fuck? What the fuck is that? Like that's like one of these things like avocado toast that just sprung up within the past 2 years. That does
seem to be true though, doesn't it?
I like the first.
You're right though. I feel like it has been like within the last.
Yeah, the first 26 years of my life, I never heard of anyone ever putting avocado on toast
or saying mindful.
Yeah,
right?
It's like you're mindful of what, but I like that kind of ambiguous, high level, like mindful. Like you need to be mindful of everything.
Well, yeah, that's true. And avocado toast or your brain.
Right. You need it all. You need that. You need that fucking avocado toast in that fucking guacamole. but there's it's being mindful or like paying attention is to your surroundings, to yourself.
Right.
Is something that it's
hard to do.
Oh, it's super fucking hard, but at the end of the day, that's how you're going to overcome everything. That's how you are going to not be dominated by your biological predispositions and your how you were socialized, how you were raised.
I do wonder though too, like I also feel like there's going to be certain aspects from certain people that no matter how mindful they try to be, it may not be enough to overcome something. I mean, like where you might need therapy or something. You know, honestly, like I feel like we're oversimplifying it too. Though.
It's like
I'm serious. Like,
everyone's situation.
Like, I just gotta think really hard, and then all the problems go away.
Well, that's the thing. Like, that's step one.
That's true, and it's a small step, and it never ends.
No, that's the crazy part about it is that no matter how mindful you are about whatever it is, right?
And it's every day. You're going to have things come up every single day, all day long.
You have to be fucking relentless.
Yeah, it is. And that's a perfect word. You have to be relentless.
Yeah.
And so I think a lot of times people, like, I'll meditate too, and I've talked to other people that try to meditate, and they'll just say,
are you naked when you meditate?
It depends how I feel.
Yeah.
Sometimes I have just like a full bodysuit on. Sometimes straight nude.
Oh, excellent.
Neither of those are true. I wear whatever the fuck I have on.
All right.
Okay?
Yeah, I like to wear a Speedo.
Yeah?
When I meditate. Yeah.
I don't believe you.
Yeah. No, I don't meditate.
No.
At all.
Have you ever tried?
I've never tried. No.
Why not?
Because my
be honest. Like, you feel like
my brain is just like, it's because I know you're not supposed to think about anything.
Here we go.
And that's where
here we go.
I haven't tried to like sit down and say, okay, I'm going to meditate for X amount of time. I've never done that.
5 minutes.
But I have like at least closed my eyes and sat for maybe a couple minutes.
Brain just goes wild, doesn't it?
It does, and I'm just like thinking about this.
Everything.
Generally, it's basketball. That is like the first thought.
It could be a lot worse.
It could be. It could be way worse, and but it's hard for me to stay like block everything out and focus on just that. And
it's super hard.
What's funny about it though is I do feel better though. Like in those moments that I did where I was like, okay, relax.
It's still doing something to you. Even if in your head you're like, I can't do this. This is too difficult. My brain just keeps spinning out of control. Yeah. Which, trust me, everyone's brain does that.
Okay.
But even though you felt that way, I guarantee you that still did something to you. It still helped to a very small degree.
Yeah. I mean, it made me think about
basketball.
Something other than basketball. And or maybe just think about basketball.
Yeah, at least focus it in just to one topic.
Yeah.
I remember the first time I did it though, like I honestly felt like a schizophrenic. I was like, my mind is just going crazy.
You felt like Jack Nicholson from The Shining.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I was just like I just realized that your brain is constantly thinking of like a million things all at the same time.
Yeah.
And it sounds like just insanity when you're like, you know what, I'm just going to sit for 5 minutes and just not think, which is nearly impossible.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then you realize that your brain is just thinking about 100 things at the same time.
Yeah. And it never...
It's loud.
It's just... And I think it's probably worse now... like nowadays than it ever was because we have so much thrown at us
all day long.
So it's okay, how do you separate and organize that information as it to where it's valuable and relevant, right? And because at any point in the world there's an infinite amount of information that we can potentially see. But,
and you are your brain is absorbing shit nonstop.
Yeah.
Like at work, your phones, your computer, your TV screen. Drive down the road, look how many street signs there are. Like, thought about how many goddamn signs there are?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I saw a guy, a homeless guy holding a sign the other day, and it was just like, it said something to the effect of, I know I'm homeless, I need food.
Yeah.
And it was just like
fill in the
Oh,
blank.
okay, yeah, and he was like, he was dancing as he was
Yeah,
like.
no, that's good though.
He
Trying
was.
to put on a show.
I didn't quite know what to think about it at first. I was like, I just look over and I see this guy who is obviously been living on the streets for a while, and like he's just like doing like the Harlem Shake, like dancing, and I'm like,
There,
and I took a look at his sign, and I'm like, I mean, at least he's not saying that he like making a sob story on a piece of cardboard. He's at least just being upfront, but.
Well, that's funny you said that because like I was so there's a guy in Ferndale who stands on the corner, has a sign,
Mm-hmm.
right? You would assume he's homeless.
Mm-hmm.
He has a sign that says "I'm homeless."
Yeah.
Looks a little dirty.
Mm-hmm.
This guy lives next door to my brother.
Are you serious?
He has an apartment.
Oh my
Because
God.
we've seen him. I'm like, that's that fucking guy on the corner. So, and it actually made me think, like, do you still feel bad for that person?
No, fuck no.
But here's another side to that. I do. Here's why.
You do?
I do kind of. Because think about how weird or fucked up your life would have to be to, like, I'm going to go on the corner today to make my money. I know you could say, well, he's just being a lazy fuck and he should try harder. But I still feel like if you've gotten to that point in your life where you're like, this is what I'm going to do today. I'm going to go act homeless on the corner. Your life can't be that great. It can't be.
I mean, that's a fair assessment.
Your life's still fucked up.
Right, because if your life was in a good spot,
You wouldn't be trying that.
You wouldn't have to.
You wouldn't even try that. That's like you going, you know what, tonight, honey? I'm going to be on the corner with my street sign, put the kids to bed. I got to make this money.
Yeah, and
That would be a shitty life.
I don't know though. I think
Would you do it?
No, I don't think I could pull that off.
No?
I've
Sure
been,
you could.
I've been told I have a church boy look,
Dude,
so
we can
it
do
doesn't
Mess the hair up, take the glasses off, get some shitty clothes on, smudge your face up.
Just rolling some dog shit.
Done.
Well,
and
yeah.
actually, you might do good because you got that face.
Got that
The church boy face. So maybe people will feel bad for you.
I don't know. Like that's, but I like to answer your question.
Yeah.
I would not do that. So
Okay, good.
So I understand the line of thinking.
I get both sides of it.
Yeah, and but in my mind, it's on that guy to not be a fucking waste of space piece of shit, and be out there, begging for people's money, knowing full well he's capable of doing something better than that.
But
Now,
what if he's not capable of it, though? What if he has a mental disorder or something?
But I mean, you would have to be at least somewhat
Coherent enough to
you have to have
pull
enough,
that off?
right, to get an apartment.
True.
And plan that I'm going to go to this corner and ask for people's money all day long, and like that's your occupation.
Trust me, he probably isn't the nicest person in the world.
Yeah,
but I do go through that sometimes where I'm like, I'm not giving this guy. I already know this dude has a place to live. Right. I already know that he probably has TV and cable. Right. He might not have cable, but
okay. So if he has fucking cable, if he has fucking cable,
all right, fuck the guy if he has cable.
Right.
Well, don't fuck him, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, is like that makes him even more of a piece of shit. Like if he has fucking cable, I don't have cable.
He's got
TV.
ESPN.
Yeah. Oh fuck that, dude. Like I'm gonna drive in Ferndale now and meet this guy and be like,
I'll show you.
and just ask him like, you got fucking cable TV, and like and
slap his mouth.
Yeah.
Okay, fair point.
Yeah, but there was a guy that I met. I used to work at a 7-Eleven, and we had this guy that would come by all the time, ask customers for money like outside the store. And
did you work there?
Yeah, I worked there.
Did you? Okay, go ahead.
But before I worked there though, that guy asked me for money. He gave me this sob story about how his daughter was like, "Hey, I need to get this breathing treatment for my daughter over at the Rite Aid across the street."
Damn, that's
like
detailed.
Right. It was a very like intricate story, right, with the details, and it was like, and I understood. I'm like, here's $5, man. Got it. No problem. So then, like, a couple weeks later, he comes up to me with literally the same story. Same exact story. I mean, like, the method was exactly the same.
You're like, still trying to get those breathing treatments.
Right. And I was like, dude, I told him, like, dude, I already gave you $5. Like,
Did he
a couple weeks ago. He's like, oh, man, I appreciate it. Sorry.
Can't do it again.
Yeah, like, and so then I'm like, okay, like, this guy's obviously, that's what he's about. So then I start working at the 7-Eleven. And my boss sees him, and dude, my boss just darts out of the store, and he's like, "Hey, motherfucker, get the fuck out of here! I better not see your ass around here again." And I'm like, "Oh shit!" And he's like, "Yeah, man, that guy's always fucking asking for money, and you know, always trying to bum stuff off people." So I knew that, so I avoided him. If he ever talked to me, I just didn't say anything. But then one night he comes, like, I'm leaving, and he comes up to me. He's like, "Hey, look, man, I know I've asked you for stuff in the past." He's like, "But look, this is very important.
This is for real."
Yeah, he's like, "This is serious." And I'm
My
like,
dog needs a breathing treatment.
and he's like, he said, he's like, "Look, man, I got caught up in some weed shit, and I need you to give me a ride over to this bar in Pontiac." And I was like, "Dude," what? I'm like, "Okay, like
the worst excuse ever."
I know, and it's like, you're not selling me on it at that point. It's like,
you have drug dealing problems? Sure, get in my car.
Yeah, get in my car, and I will escort you to the location of your choosing. Like, it's like, fuck you, man.
That's
like,
pretty bad.
It's like, how, like, so I told him, like, dude, I can't do that. And he's just like, all right, man, I get it. And he just left. But, as I was walking away, I'm like, what kind of a fucking moron does he think that I am? It's like, and...
Well, you gave him $5 before, so...
He's hoping that I would have enough goodwill to understand. It's like, I'm completely sympathetic to your drug dealing problems.
Yeah, no.
So here's a lift to this place.
So I always wondered when I see people in front of stores, like, is it your job to get rid of them?
I mean, it depends on the...
That would suck.
It depends on the store, like the store's policy. Like, we did have one homeless lady that... she helped us out around the store. Like, like, she would, like, if garbage was coming out of the dumpster, she would pick it up. And we would hook her up with coffee and donuts served for free or whatever. Like, it was just kind of... But she was very mentally unstable.
Like, and see, that's what I mean. So, like...
I mean...
I don't know. That's the tricky stuff.
Because one night, someone told me, like, Connie was her name. She's really nice as long as she's on her meds. If she's off her meds, she's fucking crazy. And I was like, I can't be that bad, like, you know. And
talking to herself and...
Yeah, like, when she was super paranoid, like, she would talk about how... Because I saw her start to get off of her meds, and she would come in and talk to me about orange.
Just the color or the fruit?
Yeah, like...
Or both? Or just orange, the word.
She would just say, oh, orange is after me.
Holy
and I'm like, oh shit. I'm like, okay, Connie, what's orange? Like, what's
give me the details.
Yeah, and she's like, yeah, orange is the government. Like,
oh damn.
I don't know if she's talking about Agent Orange or what the fuck she's talking about, but that's what she would talk. And so she would say that they're after her, and she has to, like, find places to hide from them and stuff. So that's when it started to get kind of weird. And then one night, like a couple weeks later, it's like 1:30 in the morning. I look out in front of the store. The lady that's working with me, her car is parked out right there. And, dude, I look out and I see Connie standing there with a switchblade knife.
Oh, no.
It was like, I swear to God, creepiest fucking thing.
Oh,
like,
shit.
I'm looking the one way. I turn and look out the window, and there's Connie just standing there with a fucking knife. And I'm like, oh, dude. I'm like, oh, man, what's going to happen? And then me and the lady I'm working with are both looking at her. Like, figuring out what she's gonna do.
Call the cops.
And she just takes that knife and slashes the lady's tires.
Whoa.
All 4 of her tires just fucking pops and do it. And I'm like, it was messed up, but I just started fucking dying laughing while this lady's tires just get slashed. I am like,
is it a random person in the store?
No, this is a woman that was working with me, like my coworker.
Fuck.
Dude, I was like crying, laughing, and she called the cops, and like, they came up and like got her. But it's like, after that, I never saw her. After that.
Was pretty random.
Yeah, it was pretty crazy. But dude, I was fucking.
If that lady meditated, she'd be fine.
Oh yeah, her paranoid schizophrenia would be totally
That's what
gone.
I mean by like. That's what I meant. not that extreme, but
Yeah.
like that's why I meant like being mindful. I get like certain people probably aren't really. It's a lot harder for other people to do, right, than someone else.
Right.
And I also feel like it depends on your life. Like, quote unquote, being mindful is pretty fucking easy if your life is easy, right? Like,
yeah. Oh, yeah.
you don't have any stress, you don't have kids, you don't have a family or whatever, right? Like, it's a
It's
lot easier to control your thoughts when your life isn't shit.
right. And
I don't mean having kids means your life is shit.
you know, I
Just
I get it. It's, and I mean, because it's just balance, right? And that's where it starts, though.
Yeah.
And because you're given your biological makeup. You don't have a choice in that matter.
I mean, some people need medication. Like, it's a real thing.
Right. Yeah. And some people are genetically predisposed to mental
Right.
illness, right? But when you become a parent, your role is to understand your biological predispositions and whoever you have a child with, and try to balance that out in how you socialize your children and how you raise them. So if I know that I'm exceptionally emotional, right? Yeah, for example.
Do you think that transfers into your kids, or do you think that transfers through external, like them witnessing it?
I think it can. I think that, I think it's more, it's not necessarily completely changing your behavior based on that. It's at least understanding that, okay, that may be a cause of it. So you have to kind of tailor how you address situations with your kids, to address that.
Yeah, that's complicated.
But a lot of, like, what's fucking crazy though is people don't even think about that shit.
And exactly.
You know
the
what I
fact that you're even thinking about that obviously is good, but some people shouldn't have kids. Let's be honest.
Yeah, right. Yeah, but it's like, you quit fucking popping out babies.
Yeah, and
like,
those
because it's
maybe you need to take a test before you get to have a kid.
I honestly I think that would
like
be
that,
no, people won't. But it's like that's literally the greatest responsibility
Ever in your
of
whole
all
life.
time.
Right.
Because like we talked about it on another podcast, where it's the capacity for bad in one human is fucking insane.
They could really fuck a lot of stuff up.
Right. So what the crazy part about it is parenting is you can literally do everything right, but
That's scary, right?
Yeah, and I mean that's all you can do though. You can't necessarily think about, all you have to worry about is just making sure that you're taking the right steps. Right. And to me, the best way to do that is just be a good father, be a good parent, be a good example of what a good person should be, and you lead by example in that sense, right? And the kids will see that, because no matter what, I mean, like, once your kids get to a certain age, they're gonna do whatever the fuck they want.
Yeah, that's true.
And all you can do is just continue to be a good person, give them guidance when you can, or when they ask for it, or when they're in a bad spot, and hopefully they make the right decisions.
I would also say don't let them see you meditate in a Speedo, because
that's like that would seriously
anybody
mess them up. And with having two daughters, it's like
that's even got to be even more difficult.
Well, to me, it's like I can't relate, because I never had sisters, so it's like, I don't know what the daddy-daughter dynamic is, but what I do know, and my method has been thus far, is to just be a good husband to my wife.
That's right.
To be a good dad, as if kind of how my dad was a good dad. So, and emulate that, but just understand that, like, my oldest daughter is kind of sensitive, right? And I don't know where she gets that from, but that's how she is. And
that's
so
why I wonder, like, sorry to cut you off, but that's why I wonder if, like if you, like we were talking about, like, your mental state, like if you're emotional or not, or whatever, how you deal with situations. I don't know if that, like, if your child is going to carry those same traits, or if, like, where does it come from? Like, it just, you know what I mean? It's strange.
Yeah.
Like, each human takes on their own, like, profile of, like...
Yeah. I think it's a mix. I think it's a mix of your genetic makeup.
Yeah.
And how that genetic makeup is
makes you respond to things,
responds
right?
to the world. And it's, because people will make the argument nature versus nurture forever. I think it's both.
Yeah.
I think that both play equal part into your individual composition as a person.
That makes sense.
And there's a third element in that. And I don't know at what age this becomes an actual thing, but it's free will. It's like because you do have agency, and people will debate whether or not you can actually, like you can actually, whether you have free will or not. But I'll tell you what, I can make a fucking choice on whether I want to meditate in a motherfucking Speedo or if I don't.
True. That's
right?
free will, isn't it?
That's
or is it?
That's
maybe your life choices led you up to the moment where should I wear a Speedo or not?
And at the end of the day, either I'm in the Speedo or I'm not. So you can't prove that I had a fucking
Fair
choice,
enough.
And so there's you can't prove that you have a choice.
Yeah.
You know that you have a choice. Internally, we all think that we have choices.
Right.
But you have to.
Do you, or did it actually just?
I believe that you do, and that's what it comes
too.
down to, is believing whether or not you do. So it's nature, nurture, free will, right? 3 elements, right? Because okay, you're composed of your biological makeup, how you're socialized, and the decisions that you make. Now, obviously, when you're a baby, there's not a whole lot of decisions going on, but at some point, you have the realization where I can choose to do this and I can choose not to. And you can predict.
But then you wonder what kind of stuff they're actually absorbing up to that point. And maybe they are absorbing shit that we don't think they are, and that is actually shaping how they decide when they can make a choice or not. I don't know. It's like space.
Yeah, it's like... It
makes no sense.
It doesn't make any fucking sense. It's like... And that's why I don't think that... I mean, like psychologists and, psychiatry, like that entire discipline is so difficult because...
Yeah, everyone's different. Like, completely different.
Completely different. And so, like, nobody's... Like, there are, like, core components of the brain, right, that make up the physical aspect of the brain. But then it's like, okay, the neurons are firing and there's all these fucking parts working. I don't know shit about that. But what I do fucking
You're
know...
a goddamn scientist.
Yeah. It's like with that eloquent explanation of the fucking brain, I leave you with this. I don't think we'll ever be able to fully understand how the brain actually works.
Probably not, because it's our own brain that's trying to do it. Like,
right.
That's what I always talk about, like, when you try to understand space. What is space? Infinity? Your brain can't do that because it's still your brain.
Yeah, exactly. It's the transcendent.
Right.
It goes beyond our capacity to understand things.
Right. We'll keep trying, but it's like you're still limited to your own human brain.
Right.
So, I mean, honestly, to me, like, space is just as complicated and weird as a human being.
Fuck yeah.
And their brain and the way they perceive things.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like they're equally as crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, and there's like people, I've heard people say it's like, dude, what if space is in your fucking brain, man? It's all in your mind. And it's like I don't know. Maybe
it is.
It's and that's like maybe. And I think that's where, like, understanding that the universe
Maybe
is...
this is all a simulation.
The Matrix?
Yeah.
Going with the Matrix, you know? But there's understanding that it's cool to think about that stuff and like wonder like what if, like what about this, what about that. But at the end of the day,
stoned.
right, yeah. But at the end of the day, what we do know is that we're right here and that we exist.
Yeah.
Like I know that I am here experiencing things.
Yeah, that's about as far as you need to go.
Yeah, and it's like now it's like whether or not, you know, I understand that Mediterranean food is the shit.
Yeah.
Basketball is the shit.
To wook.
Right. That's all that shit that I like is good. Right? And you know,
well, sometimes thinking about too much stuff is what causes anguish and like anxiety.
Yeah. That is true. It's weird how,
because I'm sure there are plenty of people that can get like almost anxiety or anxious about thinking about how big and crazy shit really is.
oh yeah.
Need to focus it down into chicken to wook.
Yep.
And basketball.
Right. There's I love when I'll ask people that are not interested in like high level theoretical things about the universe. I love asking them the questions because I don't want to fucking think about it.
It's making noises right now.
Right. it's like, dude,
I think it scares them.
Some people I think it does, and it's like we were having a similar discussion when I was deployed, and one of our sergeants walked by and we asked him a question that was down that road, and he was like, what the fuck is wrong with you guys? And he just walked away. And it's just like, because it's like
easy life that way, I guess.
I guess so. If you don't at least ponder about what is outside of, I guess you don't really have to.
You don't have to, though. That's the thing.
Yeah, as long as you're focused on doing the most amount of good and alleviating the most amount of suffering in the world.
Yeah, that's a good way to be.
Yeah, that's as long as if you're focused on that, all the extra shit doesn't really matter. It's like, you know,
it's fun to think about, though.
It is, yeah, and it I think what it does, it gives your brain some. If you're a person with a, which most people, like, your brain is constantly, and if you want to give yourself something to feed off of, right, it's like that's at least a topic that your brain can munch away at.
Oh yeah,
you know what I mean.
It can actually focus your brain onto one thing, even though I know that one thing sounds ridiculous and endless. At least you're not thinking about like how to pay bills or what you have to do at work the next day.
Right, yeah, and you know, or whether or not, you know, you should order that chicken to wook,
which you're going to.
Yeah,
we already know.
Yeah, or
that's one constant in your life.
Yeah, fucking Mediterranean food, man. It's never ending, and
he eats it pretty much every day.
Yeah, it's I don't know. It's gotten to the point where like I can smell garlic on me, but I don't even care.
No?
I, like,
if I give a shit.
You know, as long as you shower every day. Smell. It's like I just smell like garlic, and that's, you know, the way
people have to deal with that.
That's a part of me,
because you got to eat that shawarma.
I got to eat that shit, and it's very important though, because I think it's good to give your body consistency.
Yeah,
I think so.
I think so. Honestly, I like routine. I think a lot of people will say that they don't, but I think
a small part of them does.
Yeah, I think. I don't know, routine is actually kind of like freeing in a weird way. I guess. I don't know, it's hard to describe, but like, I think go ahead.
Oh, it just gives you a good baseline.
Yeah.
Right? And then, so it's, if you know that you're going to prepare for these steps the next day, and you know that your day is going to entail these steps, you can prepare for it. You can, so that way there's structure, and you're breaking down the unknown, or the likelihood that you're going to experience the unknown, and give yourself undue stress,
which allows you to deal with stuff that might come up, or like I think it gives you more peace of mind, like you were saying.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's like having an organized desk or house or a clean house, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like it's
everybody loves a fucking clean house.
they fucking better.
Yeah, it's like,
But some people don't.
I tell my wife every fucking day.
She better have it clean.
Yeah, I call her home on the drive home, and I'm like, listen here, that shit.
He's lying, by the way.
Yeah, no, not a fucking shit.
Yeah.
So like, dude, if I talked like that to my wife, she would probably destroy the house on purpose. And she destroy the house on purpose, and just be sitting on the couch,
you fix
sipping wine, like yeah, you like this? Yeah, so
it's your fault.
Yeah.
I like the structure. I like knowing when I'm going to the gym, going there at the same time. I get stuff ready the night before work, like coffee.
You put your sugar in your coffee.
Put the sugar in the coffee.
Before. Aren't you worried about fucking like ants or some shit getting in there?
No, I put it in the thermos. It's just at the bottom. They can't get in there.
You put the lid on.
No, I don't put the lid on. You fucking ants are going to climb up this thing into my thermos?
Fuck yeah.
Nah.
Dude, ants.
Nah, you putting bread in the toaster, though. What about that?
Yeah, I put bread in the... Listen, the difference between bread in the toaster and...
That's 5 seconds.
That is...
Maybe if you got to get out of the fridge, that's 30 seconds.
Yeah, it saves so much time. Now, pouring the sugar, it saves you, what, 10 seconds? You got it up in the cupboard,
it's about
maybe?
10 seconds. But I'll do everything that I don't feel like doing. This is weird. Like, I'll take out the socks that I'm going to wear.
Oh, so I do that, too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to do it in the morning. I'm tired. I don't feel like doing it in the morning.
Yeah, it's like you want to make that morning process as
quick and
seamless,
as easy as possible.
That's right. And when you do that, it's... Because if you're rushing around for everything, it's like you are...
And it's unorganized, and I don't like that feeling.
I don't like it either. It's horrendous. Like, that's what happened Monday.
Yeah.
I met, like, my wife woke me up at 6:45, and I was like, what
time is it?
I said, like, I believe... I'm trying to remember exactly what I said. I woke up, and I said... What the fuck, you stupid piece of shit! and
What?
And I stormed out of the room to get ready.
Did you say that to your wife?
No.
That's what it sounded like.
I was like, no. See, I have this weird habit of when.
Or are you yelling at yourself?
Yelling at myself,
yeah.
And so like I have this weird habit of when things go wrong, or if particularly if I'm working on something, like if I'm working on something around the house, like it could be anything, right? And I like call it names, whatever it is.
Of course.
And I'm like, you fucking cocksucker, like and it's like, or like, I mean, I talk dirty.
Have you hit your head on something?
Yeah. Oh,
that thing is your enemy, and you want to kill it.
Yeah, and I talk nasty to it. Like it's my little bitch for about 20 seconds, and then I'm good. So that's what happened that morning. But it's the same thing. It's like you're completely thrown off.
Yeah.
And then your whole day is started with stressors, right?
Yeah. I mean, obviously you get over it in a second, but it's undo things that don't need to be there. And to me, strip away all the shit that might create mental anguish or anxiety or stress.
Right.
So you can deal with all the shit that might actually matter. That's like we were talking about before. Like, if you can't do the simple things right, then how are you going to do the difficult things right? So strip away all the shit that, like, creates other stressors in your life so that when you have real ones, you're not dealing with the stupid bullshit.
Right. Because that's all it is, right?
It's all bullshit.
It's all bullshit. And
it's goddamn bullshit. The whole thing.
The whole...
And don't take life so seriously. I mean, really, this is all just kind of... It's nonsense, really.
Yeah. Like we just said, the universe is...
It's ridiculous.
No fucking sense.
No fucking sense.
All right.
Wrap it up.
Wrap it up.
Wrap it up.
See ya.
Bye-bye.